Let's look at some more comments from TikTok regarding the World Economic Forum because they're insightful. Why are you afraid of a conference? They're considerably more than a conference. Perhaps some of these other comments and how I respond to them will clarify that for you. Another comment. I know a bunch of people sitting around talking about math. What a horrible organization. They sit around talking about math. Well, it's not quantum physics with Stephen Hawking. The math they're talking about, in part, besides money, our money going to them, is, well, I better just say reducing numbers. And I can't even quote Bill Gates or the video will get taken down, but you might want to Google Bill Gates at the World Economic Forum when he's talking about reduction of numbers. The WEF is a think tank. They aren't involved in any governments in the world. They don't have an agenda or policies. They are a think tank. They aren't involved in any governments in the world. 75% of the Liberal government in Canada are WEF members. Mark Carney sits on both the foundation board and the board of trustees at the World Economic Forum, one of only 4 men in the world that holds both positions. You might want to watch European politics. The EU Commission, headed by Ursula von der Leyen, World Economic Forum member, sits on the board of trustees. They have considerable power over the EU member countries, and there's a lot of pushback against the EU. Well, anyways, geopolitics, probably not your thing. Next comment. I get that people love to fear the WEF because it's easier than worrying about real problems. They're a real problem, and they are the real problem. Let's move on. Why do people think a WEF comment is a flex? Have you looked into the IDU? That is an active group. Yes, I have researched the IDU, and let's put a bit of a comparison here, although the emphasis will be on the World Economic Forum. Let's see what the World Economic Forum is active in. Well, the head of these lettered organizations I'm about to list are all World Economic Forum members, very powerful World Economic Forum members. The WHO, the United Nations, headed by Mark Rutte, classmate of Justin Trudeau's, 2005. That's the UN, led by a WEF member. NATO, Antonio Guterres. He's probably like number 2 ranked in the World Economic Forum. Oh, I'm mixing NATO and the UN up. I'm sorry. Antonio Guterres is the UN. NATO is Mark Rutte. Did I get that wrong? The IMF, the World Bank, all headed by WEF members. Look at the countries that are having trouble in the world. Well, a lot of them. The UK, France, Germany, Canada, all WEF members. The foundation board of the WEF meets 4 times a year. So Chrystia Freeland's flying over to Geneva, Switzerland 4 times a year, not including the meeting in Davos and perhaps any regional meetings, which I'll come to momentarily. The WEF won't disclose how often the Board of Trustees meets. Then there's their bit nudge units. You might want to research the WEF's behavioral science and the behavioral insight team's nudge units and their activities. For example, the WEF bit nudge unit technically came to Toronto in 2017, and the address is there, but they moved their operations to the Privy Council in Ottawa in 2019, just in time for 2020. Yeah, but you might want to look into that business. They're pretty active there. Then there's their Young Global Leaders program. They're quite proud of the fact they turn out over 100 members a year, although we really don't know how many the actual number is. There's been probably about 4,500 members since 2005, Young Global Leaders graduates cranked out, according to Dr. Nate Nordengard. It's his first name. Yeah, it'll come to me, whatever. Then we have 6 to 8 regional meetings globally around the world. Quote from the WEF, to shape global agendas. You might note that the UN and the World Economic Forum signed 2 pacts at least, it's public record, you can look it up, to hasten Agenda 2030. So, where's the IDU in all this? Well, the IDU has an operating budget, as far as I can ascertain, of $2 million a year. The operating budget of the World Economic Forum exceeds $200 million. Do the math. And they don't have, the IDU is not active compared to the WEF, not even close. So I hope that helped.